Hmm.
Hi, people watching in the future. Welcome to call number 22. I know what call it is. I feel special.
Better than I am. Okay, there you go, 22.
So what adventures in asking have you had this past week? Have you had any?
Does what the hell count as an ask? Mostly kidding.
Sometimes.
It has been, it's been an interesting, that's a really great, actually, as much as that's me kidding, that it's actually a really great topic. So for those of you who haven't watched any previous episodes, I'm of an interesting age. Nature's glitter, nature's tinsel in my hair. And I am in the throes of perimenopause.
Yay.
And
Maybe not.
things change. And there are days when I'm just like, I have no idea what my body is doing. And I will ask, speaking of asking, I will ask my husband, what is my body doing now? And some of them might be like, why would you ask him? Well, that means you haven't had any kind of interaction with him. The man is really sensitive to energies, really sensitive to what is going on with other people. He can see color things, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I'm confused and I don't understand what's happening. What the hell? And he's like, yeah, you're on the downslope. And I'm like, great, but what does that mean? What's that mean? And so one of the things that I will be embarking on, I haven't been doing as much of it, but as he and I were having that talk, I'm going to start doing a lot more asking of my body.
Ooh.
Not necessarily asking it to do things, although I may have to make some contracts with it for that too, but asking more what is going on, not from the, but from okay, so what is going on for me? Okay, so if we're going to be 34 days long in our cycle, randomly, and my younger friends are like, oh my God, are you pregnant? And it's like, oh no, sweetie, A, don't even go there, and B, no. But to really, and I think it's kind of funny that I say this because this is so much of what I do with clients is it's not about me saying you shouldn't eat this and you need to have more kale and eat stuff that tastes like tag board, because as a nutrition coach, that's not what I do, because who wants that? It's more about getting people to understand and listen to what it is their body is saying that it needs and wants. Well, this has become such a different ball game. And so rather than just being like, what the hell, is my asking is going to start really incorporating asking my body, what up? What's going on, sister? And really digging into the asking of what it is. And I ask this of clients all the time. What is it that you need that you're not getting? But asking my body, what is it that I need in this moment? What is it that I need this week? What is it I need today? And here's the rub, learning to be okay with that.
Say more about that.
Like today, I've got a pretty long list of stuff that needs to get done, that I want to get done, and that will benefit me to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of overlap in those things. And then I've got other people coming and asking me for things. It's like, I don't have the bandwidth for that today because, 34 days late and day one is like, I just want to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be quiet. I want to get grounded. I want to slow down enough to be able to think a little broader, take things at a slower pace today. But I'm looking at the clock going, that's not been the case for the last 6.5 hours. So that's where the being okay with it, because my body's like, guess what? It's day one after 34 days of 34 days of late.
Wait, so is your cycle 34 days long this month, or are you 34 days late?
I'm 34 days late.
Oh, that's fun. Poor uterus.
I know, right? Well, my one ovary is probably like, oh, I'm sorry, I was asleep. Because earlier this year, well, at one point I was 39 days late, and then I was 6 days early on different times. So it's not saying, oh, guess what, this is what you have to look forward to, because every body is different. But I had stopped asking my body because it seemed like all my body was saying is, I just want sugar and mashed potatoes, you know.
Yes. Oh, wait, sorry.
Right? And I want to sleep, and I don't want to get out of bed. And then I started rebalancing my hormones a bit, because that's a thing, people. And then I didn't want to sleep all the time, and I wasn't stressed all the time because things were more even in my body. And this week, all I wanted is mashed potatoes and pancakes, and I'm like, what? Well, now I know why, because my body was going comfort food, comfort food. It's like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket. Well, today my energy is lower. You wouldn't know it by the fact that I'm doing this, but it's lower. I could easily take a nap right now, and my list of stuff is long. So instead of listening to my body and just going, you know what, my list is long, but it can wait, I'm plowing through my list instead of asking my body what would really yeah, no, I don't have time to just relax. I don't have time to take an entire afternoon off. I don't have time to go outside and enjoy the sun and soak up the vitamin D because I have this list. Right? I know. And so it's
Said that to me Monday.
Huh?
Not like you said that to me Monday or anything.
No, I know, right? So I'm finding that part of my asking journey right now is that really, and it's perfect season for it, because I'm looking outside and it's hot out today here. Sorry for those of you, anybody who's experiencing deep freeze, but it's hot here today.
We have fall here in Middle America.
Yeah. We have some leaves that have turned color. The temperature just doesn't look like it. It's cooling off at night, but during the day it's still really warm this week. But it's the yin season of the year where things get more quiet and nature calls us to be more introspective and to slow down. And so I am going to commit on TV, Scouts Honor, whatever, raise my right hand, all of those things, to purposely slow down and ask my body. And I think this would be a great thing in the morning, especially, what is it that my body needs today?
I like that.
Yeah. I think that will, I believe that will help me tune into riding the wave that this is with a little more grace and a lot more ease. I know you like that ease part. You always remind me to include ease.
Ease. Yeah, I realize that part of that is because my humaning here on planet Earth has not been filled with ease. So I've just been like, ease, 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 ease.
I think that might become my word for 2019.
Ease.
Ease. Because I've forgotten it so many times in 2018. You've reminded me with some of the statements. With ease. Oh, yeah. That part was supposed to be at the end of it.
You mean I don't have to go out myself and kill the cow and chop it up in order to have a grass-fed steak? What?
Oh, dear God, and thank the sweet baby Jesus and all that's holy and a few unholy things that I don't, or I would be really hungry. Because I'm just saying. I would have to learn to ask someone else to do that, because I would be a vegetarian. I don't know if I'd be a vegan, but I would definitely be a vegetarian if that were the case. Probably a vegan too, because I'm scared of bees. But, I would have made a horrible prairie wife. Let me just tell you that.
No. If the husbands murdered the things, then I would have been good. If you kill the meat, I will skin it and chop it up. But, well, maybe not skin it. But I'll definitely cook it. We used to make homemade sausage. I digress. Um, guess guess why I don't eat chitlins aside from the fact that they taste like pig intestines or they smell like pig intestines.
Yeah, we used to cut up whole chickens to make cooked chicken baked when I worked at camp during the summers. And on those days when I had to deal with cutting up whole chickens, I couldn't eat it. So I would have made a horrible prairie wife. That's just it.
So,
Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah. No. I know whatever. But I want to start asking myself, asking my body. It's about tuning in. But I think that's true for all of us. The asking, it feels like start at the beginning. Asking has to start with me. What am I asking of myself? And am I listening to what my body's asking of me?
That's juicy.
Yeah.
I listened. Well,
Sometimes
first
I listen.
Naomi.
You what?
I said I listened, and then I said, well, first I listened to Naomi, and I laid down.
In the grass? Did you end up in the grass or no?
Huh?
Did you end up in the grass or no?
No, I got in my bed.
Because it was cold outside where you were.
I live in middle America. It wasn't that cold. I just wanted to be in my bed, and I have a heated throw, and I have Tetris on my tablet.
The ground would have, the temperature you told me, the ground would have been rather chilly to lay outside on the ground.
Perhaps. I was just too lazy to get a blanket and go out there. So that's how tired I was. My bones were tired.
Yeah.
So for those of you who were not involved in that text message exchange / phone call, I called Naomi. Well, she called me after I texted her and said, hey, can you talk? And she suggested for my fatigue that did not accompany sleepiness. I was tired, like the kind of tired.
Physically tired.
Yeah, my body was just like, nah, don't want to. And I was like, oh, but I'm up. So I was like, how do I fix this like today? Like I know my adrenals are broken and I'll fix those over time. How do I fix this thing?
Clear,
like,
cancel, delete that little message to your unconscious.
Okay, well, not broken, but they're sad and tired and they require nourishment.
They're looking for some TLC, man.
Yes, they require nourishment, which is one of my words for 2019. And Naomi was like, go lay on the ground and like rest and things. And I was like, ground, blanket. And I'm in the middle of moving, so I'm not even sure I know where the blankets are. So I got in my bed where I know there are blankets. And I took the just slow down part of the advice. And I woke up 3 hours later.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, I was sleepy. I just needed to give my body the opportunity to sleep.
And sometimes it's that permission too. Kind of like today, I did give myself permission to do what I can do today, knowing that what gets done, and prioritizing that list. But sometimes it's that permission to take a step back, to take a moment, to, okay, I give you permission to lay down and rest. I give you permission to slow down. I give you permission to take one thing at a time. I give you permission, and whether it's me giving Lila permission, go rest, or me giving myself permission, slow down, or take an hour to go outside and walk, or 10 minutes if an hour just feels way too heavy and long and big and whatever. Heck, go pull up a chair out on the balcony and sit your butt in the sun. Whatever that looks like. Sometimes it's about giving ourselves the permission when we're piled high with shoulds. My body should be behaving the way I think it should. I should not feel so effing tired day one of my cycle after it's 34 days late. Well, when I listen to that phrase from a logical standpoint, I think, well, that's just dumb, because anatomy and physiology will tell you there's a good chance you will feel a little more energy depletion on that day. But in my head, I should still be doing all the things. I have to give myself permission to let my body be what it is. Not to ignore it and be like, well, I'm just what I'm stuck with. No. Because there are things that my body needs to be supported in a different way going forward. But today, in this moment, this is where my body is at. And I can choose to honor it, or I can choose to push up against it. And if I ask my body, what does it need? It's not going to say, push on through, sister. That's great.
Yeah.
Not what it's going to say.
No, not at all.
So ask and listen and be okay. It's just like when we ask other people for stuff. Boundaries. They're creeping up all over the place today. It's absolutely hysterical to me. I got people reaching out of the woodwork, and I'm getting to practice boundary setting today with myself and with other people. That's great. I know that so-and-so needs help. Well, guess what? Not to say it's not my job, but I hold them fully capable in being able to do that themselves, and or if they are unable to do it themselves, to be able to find someone who does have those qualifications to assist them instead of me finding a person with the qualifications. They're a grown-ass adult.
I concur. Good job. Nice work.
Delegate. Again, I am not unwilling to help people. And I want to empower people to really step into the things that they say they want. That's what my coaches do with me. I got one doing it right now.
Yay.
Love my coaches. Just like my coaching clients love me.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. So that's, I think, my asking. I don't think we talked about last week. Can I share one ask celebration?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And then I'm going to tap you for what's your asking adventures been? So one of the things I've been wanting to do, our budget is allocated elsewhere right now, but I've been wanting to go shopping. I want some new clothes, right? And I didn't even put that out there super strong. It wasn't even like, I want a couch. I would like the couch to be gray, preferably a charcoal gray. And I want it to be no longer than the couch that we currently have, but to be a lot more comfortable. And, so I'm pretty clear on the couch, right? It's not been like that, but it was just like, kind of want some new clothes. I'm not spending money on new clothes, but I want some new clothes. And I must have put it out there pretty good and strong. Because from 2 sources this week, friends of mine who'd gone through their closets, hey, did you want some clothes? Because I'm getting rid of half the stuff in this pile I haven't even worn, but here. So now some of it didn't, and they even said, I don't know if all of it will fit. Some of it didn't. Some of it wasn't my style. Some of it was. I ended up with, I don't know, 8 new dresses and shirts from one friend. Saw another one on Sunday. Oh, hey, and here's this bag for you. All the old tank tops that I've been going, well, I guess if I wear it under something, nobody will see that, small hole that the washing machine put in it, stuff like that. Or wow, the bottom is all stretched out and looks a little, but if I wear it under something, nobody sees that. All those ones where it's like, really kind of starting to need to put it to rest and say goodbye. I get this bag and most of it is tank tops. I'm like, sweet. And a couple of just casual shirts, which is really awesome. So I just got a whole bunch of new stuff to my wardrobe, all because I just put it out there. Hey, I want some new clothes and I'm not going shopping right now.
I love it.
New clothes.
That was my toy cars creation. That was how it came about. Oh, I want a car. Oh, I just want a car that runs. Oh, I just want a car that runs. It's fun to drive. And then I started looking at I really love the Mazda and the Nissan Altima and a few other brands. And I really don't want a car payment. No, I changed my mind. I don't want a car payment. And then a friend texted me and said, my friend has a car that she's giving away. And I went, thanks, universe. You're so awesome.
Mhm. Exactly.
So, yeah. And the toy car is pretty fun to drive. I can literally turn it around in my driveway. Now, my driveway is actually a little wider than the classic driveway. There was a boat in the garage before we moved in. So, it's not a super narrow driveway, but it's still not hard. It's not easy to turn around a regular sized car in my driveway
I was
either.
going to say, you can turn around without doing a 32-point turn.
No, just a 3 point. Is this big?
So here's a question for you.
Huh?
My belief is if I can manifest all these new clothes, I think having seen recently at the event that I spoke at, there was a woman who is a stylist and a woman who is a photographer, and they do a lot of work together. They do a lot of branding, wardrobe branding, and branded photo shoots with entrepreneurs. So it was kind of fun, and I think that created some inspirational energy of what is my brand? What do I want? You know, what would my brand, if I had to translate it to clothes, what would it be? And I think that created a little bit of inspiration. So I think there was a different energy, but if I can create that and just put it out there somewhat casually, I wasn't even like, I need new clothes and I want them by this date. And I was, I wasn't like convicted of, I am getting new clothes. It was like, I want some new clothes and I am not going shopping for them. And then it was just kind of like, done, gone. If I
Right.
can do that, and if you can go, I want a car. Ooh, you know what? I don't want a car payment. Yep, I want a car and I don't want a car payment. And you can get a car. So if we can do that with these things, we can do that with anything, right?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm going to ask you, since this is asking, what's the difference? What's the missing? And what can people, if they're noticing that for themselves, can they do? What steps can they take? Because I honestly couldn't tell you what I did differently to end up with these clothes. Because I didn't put it out there to my friends, hey, I'm needing some new clothes because mine are looking It wasn't anything like that, like I've done with the house. Look, we don't want to renew our lease. Who do you know who's got a mother-in-law cottage that they're renting? I have a good friend from Illinois who said, hey, I can get you a job. I have someone else who's like, hey, you could come live here rent free. And I'm like, it's like, that's a really long commute from where I live. Like 2,000 miles a morning and another 2,000 at night doesn't really work to get to the office, but thanks. So I'd need a jet, not a car. But what's the difference, Lila? Tell us, a wise woman.
There's no difference. Abraham likes to say it's as easy to manifest a mansion as it is to manifest a button. Abraham doesn't have a body, which annoys me when they say these sorts of things. However, what I have noticed around manifesting in general is that there is an energy to it. For instance, I've reached a point where money is no longer a thing. I like your face. Do it again. um, I we just moved, for those of you who don't know, and and when I say money is no longer a thing, my bank account does not reflect my billionaire status yet. But we just moved, and to put the water bill in our name from the leasing agency's name, we needed the occupancy permit. We did that, and Calvin called to transfer it, and they said, well, Miss Simmons has a water bill from 1903 that that the previous landlord paid, that she must pay in order to transfer the water. Just so I had to pay the water bill, and then the water company will reimburse that landlord because it was my water bill.
Okay.
Uh-huh. That's what we said too. Anywho, $139. Walked in there this morning, swiped the card, signed the paper, pushed the mini out on the sidewalk by school on my way to work because I was running late. Literally 5 minutes between when I walked out of the office and when I had to be at my job. But, you know, town's small.
I slowed down when I pushed him out.
Right. And so...
Was this the king or the prince?
It was the king.
Okay.
That I could pay a $139 water bill from 1,000 years ago with like total ease was when I realized that my financial reality had changed. And it was thrilling.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he told me about it, I was like tying up loose ends because that water bill was from my life with my former husband. Yeah.
Oh, so one more thing to clean up and be done, right?
Done.
More cut ties, so that's perfect.
So that though, that has been baking. That has been an experience in process. That has been me giving my money the job of creating ease for me.
Mm-hmm, okay.
That has been me having a commitment to having money, which looks like a 10% fund. 10% of everything that I touch goes into that fund. And I borrow from it. But when I borrow from it, I pay myself back with interest.
Okay.
So when I receive unexpected cash, 10% of that goes into my 10% fund. And then I start paying myself back what I borrowed from myself. Two of my clients went on hiatus and sabbatical at the same time. That week, I got an editing gig that paid almost as much as I make in a month at the library. And so I realized this money thing has shifted, but it has shifted with practice.
I was going to say, and that's been, what, a 1.5 year journey about?
The 10% fund, probably I lost my first 10% fund. I lost my wallet with all of my 10% fund in it.
I remember that.
And I was like, $160. Oh my gosh. But like, it was more drama in my head than it was drama in my body. Like my body was like, okay, we start over. But my brain was like, that was $160, dude. And so altogether, it's probably been about 18 months. But and significantly, for those of you who are not aware, for the last 6 to 8 years, I have been living on my tax refund, mostly, because I made like nothing at my jobs prior to this. And so to go from living on less than $15,000 cash a year to having touched 30 grand in the last year, and I know that it was over $31,000 because of the 10% fund. Like I can see how much, I've touched from what's in there. That's humongous for me. Like $31,000 is not a lot of money, but comparing it to 14 or so,
It goes a lot farther than 14 does.
doubled.
Right? Yeah. So if you were able to double it in a year to 18 months,
yeah,
and you're getting better and better at the doubling.
Mm-hmm. What'll it look like next year?
How can it get any better than this?
How can it get any better than this? And then the car thing is sort of the same. Mm-hmm. That's my fourth gifted car.
Nice.
Yeah, people just say, here, have a car.
So what is the difference? Because for me, the clothes versus the, we're in the space of, I refuse to sign another lease here. They're raising the rent again. We will have ended up with 50% rent increase in 2 years. but there's a hole starting to show up in the carpet. And, you know, stuff is broken down because they're remodeling these units when people move out, because we are under new management as of 2 years ago. And so they're remodeling as people move out, and they're raising our rent. And it's like, yeah, you haven't done anything to improve this particular unit.
Right.
I don't see another increase worth it. I didn't see it last year when you increased. I certainly don't see an increase this year in anything. And it's not just a cost of living 3%. We're talking it's an 11% raise. I'm like, nope, done. I refuse to sign a lease for it.
Can you go
how do I create
what
that?
life is like there?
Huh?
Can you go month to month? I'm not sure what life is like there. Do you have to sign another lease?
If we month to month, it adds a whole lot more money.
That's dumb.
Well,
I'm looking for a plug. Keep talking. I'm here.
That's how and why they get people to commit to longer periods of time. If it's more money per month, if you do month to month, then people just go, oh crap, I can't pay that per month. Let me just sign a lease, you know, and then you're locked in. So mine it's almost more principle of the thing than anything, although it's also budgetary, because it's like,
yeah.
How does someone and how do I manifest that as easily as the clothes?
That's the question I would play with. How do we manifest? How do we create a new home as easily as I created a new wardrobe?
Yeah. Because the new home is higher on my list. Like if I were to say, you know, here's my list of things I want, here's the list of things I need, the new place to live that is less than what we're paying now is a higher on my, but without requiring me to move to where it freaking snows, without having an hour and a half commute. Those things are, it's kind of like Lila going, I want a new car. Wait, and I refuse to have a car payment. So I want a new place to live that is no more expensive and preferably less than what we are currently paying, without my having to drive an hour to get to my office, and without moving somewhere where there's snow.
How long do you want to drive to get to your office?
Oh, I don't even like how far I drive now. I'm a lazy commuter, I'm going to be honest. It takes me, on a good day, I can get down there in about 25 minutes. This is about the max of my commute.
Okay, order that.
Yeah. So no farther than I currently live. I don't care if it's a different direction, but no farther than I currently live, paying less than, preferably, what we're currently paying. In a neighborhood, I'm not afraid to leave my house. That's a thing. It's, you know, that's higher on my list than clothes, and clothes just showed up.
That is why. How do you feel about clothes? Do you have any, if the clothes don't come, are you going to be upset?
I don't think I would have been upset, only because there was this, I want new clothes, but I'm not going shopping. But it hasn't been this, okay, I want new clothes. Okay, I need new clothes. Okay, new clothes has to happen.
Right. So there's no tension to it. Mm-mm. It's just a yummy idea.
Yeah.
There was no resistance to new clothes. And there was a knowingness that at some point new clothes would occur. Maybe not some point soon, but before Naomi leaves her body, she'll be able to get a new wardrobe.
Yeah. I can tell you, before Naomi leaves her body, there will be a new place to live.
Well, yes, and so
unless she gets hit by a bus tomorrow, knock on wood, clear, delete, cancel, all that stuff.
And even then, you'll get a new place to live.
Well, that's true. And I will haunt the shit out of some people. Just warning y'all now.
So my city has a transportation service. I live within walking distance of my house. My son live within walking distance of the apartment that we moved out of.
Oh, okay.
My son's school is in walking distance of the apartment that we just moved out of. The other two take the bus. If I need to go grocery shopping, there's transportation service in my city. It's $1 in each direction. So I can go grocery shopping and to the laundromat on like Mondays and Wednesdays with that transportation service and a little bit of planning.
Sweet.
And everything else I need to do, I can figure out how to do with, hey, can you pick up that child and bring him home to me? Because, I mean, some of that happens now, let's be honest. So I didn't care about getting a new car, which is why getting a new car happened quickly. I had a new job. I knew how to get there. That it was done. The things that matter more, then I have to start releasing my resistance to not having the thing. So if I needed a car and I had to have a car and I couldn't live without a car, like before I had the job that was within walking distance of my apartment, then there was resistance involved in getting a car. I needed a car.
Okay.
It needed to be super affordable. That car payment had to be under $200 a month. And then I needed a job that paid more than my my teaching job did, because I made $2,000 the last semester I worked at the college. All semester, $2,000.
Not enough to have a $200 a month car payment.
No.
Yeah.
I'd have been able to pay that car payment for like, that semester. And just the car payment. But there was no resistance because I didn't have any need involved.
Right.
And I knew that I could get a new car, or I could get a car gifted to me because I had been gifted cars before. And I didn't have any expectations about who would gift the car to me, because all of my car gifts have been random car gifts.
Right.
So my mom's boyfriend told me he'd buy me a car when I turned 16. When I graduated from high school, he bought me a car 2 years after I turned 16. So I wasn't expecting to have somebody buy me a car when I graduated from high school.
Right.
Because I just decided he was a liar. The second car, my friend came over, she bought a Mercedes. And I was like super stoked for her and doing like a happy dance in my driveway for her. And she said, I'm glad you're excited because I'm giving you the Honda. Excuse me, what? Thanks. So that was new car number 2. I ended up with the ex-husband's car while he was in timeout for not following the rules. And so that wasn't exactly a free car, but it sort of was. So yeah.
I think that's a really good point, because I am really attached to not being in this expletive apartment any longer.
Damn.
One is I'm done with this apartment. 2, I'm done paying through the nose for shit that's falling apart. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of, honestly, if this apartment was as nice as the other ones in this complex, or if they were leaving our rent alone and weren't raising it, I would probably be a lot more okay with staying in this complex. I don't love it. I don't hate it. There's values it's bumping up against. I expect quality for the stuff I pay for, and I do not see that this is quality for what they're asking for it.
That feels all the places.
Yeah, that's huge. I hadn't really put those two together before. I just knew it was pissing me off they were raising our rent again when they haven't done anything to... Okay, so you redecorated the office. The old management company had just gotten done remodeling it before.
Yeah.
So you just wasted a lot of money, in my opinion.
Right.
But that's just it. They're raising it, and I don't see the value. It doesn't line up. It's like, I don't see, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be, back when Air Jordans first came out and people were willing to pay whatever they pay for them.
They're still absurd.
They are, I'm sure. The iPhone X, whatever, $1,000 for a phone? Psh.
My laptop didn't cost that much.
It's not, well, I have a Mac, so. That's just not what I value, so that seems absurd to me. It seems absurd that I would pay even more for, and especially given what we were paying. Yeah, it's a values bump. So that's a great place to look. And I think you're right. There's resistance that needs to be cleared for me to be able to clearly put it out there for what I want. So
go ahead.
In that instance, when there's a values disconnect, bumping up against a value, and there's resistance to clear, what tools do you like to utilize, Lila?
Values disconnect. That's a new one.
That I'd probably do some NLP values work, but for me, actually, it'd probably be I'd tackle into some limiting beliefs and that kind of thing, which wouldn't change my values, but would still end up having us out of this apartment.
So I like access consciousness as interesting point of view. Interesting point of view, I have the point of view that they should not be raising our rent again. Interesting point of view, I have the point of view that this apartment is not worth what they're charging me.
Yes.
That
is an interesting point of view.
It is.
Now, what comes up for me is, and it's true.
It's true. It's all, like, all of it is just an interesting point of view. And when I say resistance, I'm glad you asked about the resistance too, because when I say resistance, we always think, I want this thing I don't really want as resistance. And it's not that sort of resistance. It's, I want this thing and I want it so much that I'm making it so big and so important that I'm actually keeping it away by wanting it so much.
And that's where I think that's where I am. It's like, I won't be in here. I'm so freaking adamant, but I think that's blocking everything else.
I agree. And there's so many tools. There's a focus wheel process by Abraham. And if you've never done focus wheel or focus blocks, I can do those with you later. This video is getting kind of long. And there's some access consciousness clearing statement like some questions that we can ask, and then we can use the clearing statement to clear out the resistance. And for those of you who are watching, I am not an Access Certified Facilitator. I'm just a really nerdy student. And if you want to know what this clearing statement is, go to www.theclearingstatement.com and learn for yourself. But like, the clearing statement is my favorite thing for getting rid of things, because it just makes them go away like they never existed. Which is why I have to write things down before I clear them, because Naomi's like, well, what happened? I don't know. It's gone now.
I don't know, but whatever it was, it's gone. Yeah. It's gone. You are very good with that.
I am very good with that. And so it's usually just a story. This fun thing happened, and then I found a belief, but I don't know what the belief is anymore because it's gone. The clearing statements with questions. Some questions might not be appealing, like what would it take for me to be happy in this apartment? What's right about this I'm not getting? What's right about not finding What's right about not finding a space in our budget with our commute parameters that is not this space that I'm not getting?
Oh, yeah, I feel lots of resistance to that question.
Super annoyed. April of this year, I looked at a condo that I fell in love with, and my enjoyable other said, no, don't want to pay that much money. And I was like, I'm going to strangle you. Because I fell in love with this condo and I wanted it. It was mine and I was in love with it and it was going to make me money. The house will make me money too. And it was not zoned for my boys' schools, which would have meant I would have been dropping everybody off in the morning and picking everybody up in the afternoon. 2 boys, 2 schools, 2 different dismissal times. That's an hour and a half of my afternoon easy, gone. Just gone to commutes. And we didn't get that house and we didn't get that condo because he didn't want it, or the 3 after that. And then we found this house, which is less than the condo was by this much. Just this much though. But it's zoned for everybody's schools. Everybody can take the bus. And it's exponentially more space actually, because we have 2 living rooms. We have 2 living rooms and 2 fireplaces. 2 fireplaces. And we have a Harry Potter. We have a Harry Potter closet where you go in one end and you come out someplace else. I'll show you when we're done. It's amusing. But, you know, what's right about this I'm not getting is he got a 10.5% raise after we turned down the condo. And this house wouldn't have happened if we had been in the condo, because we would have only been in the condo for 6 months. And I'd have been commuting for little boys every day to schools, to drop. So it's not easy to see what's right about this I'm not getting while you're in the process of it, because there have been multiple times where I have wanted to shake him. I love him so much. And what's right about this I'm not getting has saved both of us from me shaking him. I say both of us because he's a lot bigger than me, and if I shake him, it'll just be bad. And it got us this awesome space with a wonderful landlord who's like interactive and involved and handed me cash for the ice cream that melted when the fridge didn't quite work right. I was like, dude, it's just ice cream, it's fine. He was like, take the money. I was like, okay, thanks.
Right, thank you. I am open to receiving. Yeah.
You only have to tell me once.
Right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good landlords are yeah, they're worth their weight in gold. Absolutely. So I think that's a really good, because had you taken that condo, you wouldn't be in the house you're in now. You'd be spending an extra hour and a half a day. Let's just drop it down to an hour a day, because that's easier math. So that's 5 days a week. That's 5 hours. That's 20 hours a month times 9 months. That's 180 hours a year of extra commute.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of your life. 180 hours of just driving around extra to pick up your kids that you wouldn't have had to, that you now don't have to. And I think that's the thing. Is there's a trust, and I know we've talked about trust before. There's a trust aspect. So if I look at what about, I forget how you put it, what about staying in this apartment?
Just what is right about this I'm not getting?
Yeah. See, I can't even say the damn phrase.
What's right about it?
What's right about this? What's right about us staying in this apartment? What's right about us being here in this space that I'm not getting? And that part of me that is so not wanting to be here is like, nothing.
Nothing, I hate it.
Not a
And you
thing.
might not know what's right about it until you're on the other end of it.
Exactly. And that's the piece. It's like I have to remember that
But
if all
asking,
things,
go
huh?
ahead. Go ahead.
If all things happen for my greater good, if all things are unfolding so that there is a lesson I get or something I receive that I would not have received if I hadn't, then maybe I can breathe through this.
Yeah,
It's an option.
it is an option. And asking what's right about it, it's it shifts your focus from what's wrong about it and what's not working about it.
Yeah. If you can get beyond the nothing, the what's right about it? Not a damn thing.
Ask again. I mean, for me, and I think I've told you this like privately. Okay, what's right about this I'm not getting?
I don't
Okay,
have to pack up all of our shit. That's what's right about it.
that's true.
We
And there
have a
doesn't
one-bedroom
need to be
place, but we got a lot of
an answer.
stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but there also doesn't need to be an answer, just a sense of relief.
For me, now that'll be an interesting thing for me to practice, because for me, unless I have at least one answer where I can say, oh, look, there are things that are right about it, then I can let it go, because there's one thing. If
You
I
don't know
can't, if I don't come up with at least one thing, I'm still stuck in sort of this, that's the dumbest question. I don't know why Lila has me asking that, because it's stupid, because it isn't a single thing. Okay, well, if there's one thing, there's probably more, and I don't need to know them, but there it is. Whoop, let it go.
And
Yeah.
has anyone had a conversation with the leasing agency about how you guys are raising our rent, but you've not fixed anything in our units or upgraded anything in our units? You have?
No, that's a good. We talked to them last year when they raised it after they bought the complex, because we wanted them to, we wanted part of the agreement to be, then you come in, if you're raising it that much, we need you to come in and, we don't expect them to replace the carpet, because A, that would be a pain in our butt, too. We have to move all the stuff. But at least clean the carpet. Well, they won't talk about that until after we've signed the lease. And of course, you sign the lease and they aren't going to do shit.
Right.
So, no, I have not yet had a conversation, but that is going to be something I'm going to call them and say, look, we have holes over by the slider that go out that are starting to show up in our carpet. Not only is it dirty and does it need to be cleaned, because after a while, cheap apartment carpet, it doesn't matter if you hire a steamer.
Yeah.
Cheap carpet after 9 years is,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's only so clean you can get it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna call and have that conversation, because I don't expect them to do all the remodels they're doing in the other units, but then don't raise our rent again.
Right.
Not the amount you're raising it, because
Right.
the cost of living raises haven't been that big. So I don't know
Right.
why and this whole, it's commensurate with the area. Yeah, but it's not a nice neighborhood like some of those areas. It's not as nice a complex as those complexes.
Agree. I think that that is part of this. I feel like that is part of this for you.
Yeah.
Is having that conversation of saying, this is what I desire and require.
Yeah.
And it may be the conversation that you need to find your new home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had to go and yell at my ex-husband to forgive him. He didn't do nothing. I just needed to get it. I just needed to get it out of my system.
Yeah, and it may be that. It's certainly, especially, I know, having that conversation, they may not say, okay, well, we'll just leave your rent. They may not say, well, we'll come in and clean your carpet, or we'll pay to move you to one of the other units that's been remodeled. You know, they may not do any of that, and I honestly am okay with that. But who knows? Maybe they will. And just having that conversation may open up and free that energy enough for getting what I want, like with the clothes, to be as easeful as that was.
Yeah. And sometimes when we have a momentum of energy,
Mhm.
And we are looking to shift that momentum because there was no momentum with clothes. It was just like, I'd really love some new clothes. And the universe said, here, have some new clothes. There was no resistance to get out of the way. But with like, I hate this apartment and I want a new one. There's some energy there.
Yeah.
And sometimes shifting that energy means taking action in the direction of the thing that you want. Um, it we can't always see how to create the thing that we want.
Yeah.
For instance, I stopped looking for a job and started looking at what I can do to grow and expand my business
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
because I don't like being told what to do.
Mm.
But I applied for like 4 jobs over the summer, and I was like, some of them were promotions at my current job, or different positions at my current job that paid a little more or had more hours or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, this is dumb. Not really dumb, but is out of alignment. This is not in alignment with my ultimate desire, which is what's right about me not getting any of those positions.
Right.
And making that commitment, and then when ideas come to me, writing them down and deciding, okay, once the move is done, I am launching this thing, led to me having an interview with a VA client on Monday that actually will pay more than both of my current clients together. And I love the mission of her business. And it was just all around juiciness. Now, whether or not she'll actually hire me is a different story. And it's less time intensive than my current clients are. Like, there's schedules for them. I was doing sales calls for Melanie, so those have to be done between that 8 and 5 Eastern time period. I have any of that. This is all click, click, click work. I could do it at 4 p.m. or 2 a.m. Nobody cares, except
Right.
for the sleeping me. The sleeping me cares. But anyway, so that I think will open the door to more. Me saying yes to that will lead to more freedom-based income experiences.
Yeah.
So I think that you saying, like, taking the action of calling your leasing office, or even better, going in there and making faces at them.
Well, the people in our local office, I have to go to the management company. I can't go
Okay.
to the office here, because the office here, when I've talked to them, it's like, oh, well.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no.
So
Gotcha.
no, I have to call the management company
Yeah.
directly.
I would certainly, and that is you telling the universe in no uncertain terms that this apartment the way it is no bueno.
Yeah.
So fix it.
So fix it. Well, and when I look at it that way, I'm going to give myself some kudos for having done that, because one of my asks a few weeks back now, my ask was, I reached out to a certain segment of my community here and just said, hey, who do you know who has a casita or a mother-in-law cottage for rent? And one person was like, oh, we just rented ours, sorry. It's like, maybe that person won't work out for them. But that needs to be what it needs to be. But one person found me 3. Now, I had not put the stipulation on it needs to be under X amount of dollars. So one of them was a lot more than what we're paying.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was half the size of my old cottage, basically the size of a living room. And that includes your bathroom, and you could maybe get a dorm size fridge and a microwave if you wanted. And it's like, oh, no. 150 square feet, and I could maybe, no. Tiny homes are bigger than that. And that was almost as much money as we're paying here. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely out. So, but at least somebody was looking, and at least I took that step of, how can I get my community involved looking? So I did take some action, but I think you're right. I think calling the management company and just saying, look, I get that you think that we need to be paying what you're advertising the open apartments for in here, but here's the deal. This apartment isn't as nice as those.
Yeah, I agree.
So we shouldn't be paying as much as somebody who moves in brand new.
I agree.
So,
Kudos.
yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll say, okay, well, we'll split the difference with you. Maybe they'll say, okay, well, we'll leave it if you sign another year lease. I mean, we've been here. There's only one person I know in this complex who's been here as long as we are. We have. Everybody else, the apartment next door to us, I think in the time we've been here, there has been no less than 7 different renters in there.
I would make that a part of the conversation too.
Yeah, because it makes a difference. This is longevity. We will stay. Not long, because I'm out of here. I don't.
We'll stay a little longer if.
Yeah. If let's what can we do to create a win-win? And I think that's you saying some of these things has really shifted the internal energy around this. It's like, okay, what would this need to be or look like to be a win-win-win? Because it's not a win-win-win if the rent's going up and nothing's changing. And so there's that value piece. So that's been really helpful. So thank you.
My pleasure. I'm super excited. We have reached an hour. We should probably stop talking now, or at least stop recording.
Stop recording. So people, if you do have stuff where you're feeling stuck and you're bumping up against stuff, things that you're trying to manifest, and I used that word on purpose, and it's not working how you think it should, it's not coming as easy as the clothes did for me, it's showing up more like this apartment piece is for me, then put it in the comments, ask away. Lila and I are here to help and to comment and to facilitate, and we'll go from there.
We are here for you, and we will see you at some point next week.
Absolutely. See you, party people.